Here we are ready to discover the Grandpa Life Coach, an almost mythological figure for anyone who has had the pleasure of experiencing a Sunday lunch with the family. Here's how it could go. How many times have you heard this phrase? In my day, these things didn't happen. Our grandfather is much more than just a relative. He is our unsolicited life coach, the master of life, who has lived every possible experience, or so he says, and now feels compelled to save your existence, in his own way. Every conversation is a coaching session, only here, there are no visualization exercises or time management techniques. It's more like a crash course in how to lose your temper without really being listened to. Life in my day was simple. For Grandpa, everything once made sense. Work was secure, values were clear, and bread cost 2 cents. In short, in his day, it was enough to follow these golden rules, which have always been the same. Don't spend money on nonsense. Do what they tell you, and above all, wake up at 5 in the morning. For him, it was enough to simply work hard and don't complain, and everything would sort itself out. And when you point out that things have changed, he responds with that wise or maybe just stubborn smile and a phrase like, "The world hasn't changed. You're the one who makes things complicated." Lesson 1. There are no shortcuts, but why haven't you bought a house yet? Coach Grandpa is shocked that you still don't own a house of your own. For him, it's inconceivable that there isn't a nice little house to pay for with light installments, like in my day. And you, patiently, explain that between the mortgage, prices, and not exactly generous salaries, buying a house is almost like trying to conquer Mount Everest barefoot. But he doesn't want to hear excuses. It's not difficult. You're the one who doesn't want to sacrifice yourself. You just have to take on a few more jobs. Lesson 2. How to not earn a euro, but with dignity. Don't worry about money. The important thing is to do your duty. One of our grandfather coach's favorite pearls is the famous lesson on the dignity of work. It doesn't matter how much you earn. What matters is how useful you are to society. So while you try to explain that yes, you want to help the world but also pay the rent and maybe eat, he shakes his head. No one ever told you that life is easy. Lesson 3. The secret to health? Just take 2 steps a day. One of the most iconic moments of your coaching session comes with the magic phrase, "If you walk 2 hours a day, you'll never get sick." Sure, maybe back when he was working in the fields, Grandpa didn't have to think about fitness. Just picking potatoes was enough to stay in shape. But today? Well, a 2-hour walk is more than a sacrifice. It's a mirage in an already busy day. But for him, if you can't take those 2 steps, it's a sign that your generation is lazy. Lesson 4. Technology? No thanks, just pen and paper. Grandpa has an ambiguous relationship with technology. He doesn't understand it, but he's sure it's useless. When he sees you fiddling with the phone, he looks at you as if you've lost your mind. What do you need that thing for? In my day, if we wanted to communicate, we just had to make a phone call or write a letter. Ah, the simplicity of the pen and inkwell. Not to mention when he tries to solve problems with the remote control, a spiritual experience. Lesson 5. You know what your problem is? You never listen to me. This is the perfect ending to each of his lessons. When you can't take it anymore and desperately try to change the subject, the phrase that destroys every attempt at rebellion comes, "See? Everything goes wrong because you never listen to what I tell you." In his mind, Grandpa has lived and overcome every imaginable challenge, and therefore, he is always right. Your choices, your experiences, irrelevant. If you have doubts or problems, the answer is already ready. Why don't you listen to me? And finally, of course, yes, we laugh, but let's face it, This sui generis life coach also gives us a lot to smile about. His advice, however bizarre, is a way of reminding us how much he really cares about us. And perhaps, between one useless recommendation and another, there is a truth. Sometimes, in his simplicity, the grandfather life coach manages to make us see life with more serene eyes when he finally stops talking. Here we are ready to discover the Grandpa Life Coach, an almost mythological figure for anyone who has had the pleasure of experiencing a Sunday lunch with the family. Here's how it could go